Welcome back to the Express at the West Vancouver Community Centre. This place is a hub in this community for seniors, young families, weekend warriors. Research has shown that people who live healthy, active lives tend to be happier. Still, life does have its challenges, especially for teenagers. Up next on the show, it's a little healthy horseplay in Abbotsford, where girls are learning life lessons in a special outdoor classroom.
Working and learning out in nature really awakens all your senses, so you have more of an ability to learn and be more focused.
And out in the nature of North Mount Lehman is a place called Empowered by Horses, an equestrian estate where girls can learn life skills.
We want to kind of model our programs after how horses interact with one another, and because they're in a herd and their survival really depends on sticking together, we bring that idea into working with the girls and say, no matter what, you have a place to belong. So you don't have to have the right designer clothes, and you don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to say the right thing. You just always have a place to belong. So that's really one of our key messages in this work we do with the girls.
After learning about how much horses can help improve character, Carla Webb and Sherilyn Wanzura started up Empowered by Horses.
And the horses are so powerful in teaching us how to be true to ourselves and ask for what we need without the use of force. So how can you ask someone to say, hey, get out of my space, without beating them up?
Well, I guess for me and my daughter, Missy, it's a little different. She has social anxiety, and so this program was able to provide her with a lot of skills that she wasn't otherwise able to really have and be comfortable using. So for her, it was a bit of a different approach.
Webb has spent 13 years as a police officer in Vancouver. Her time there gave her a passion for prevention.
With my experience policing, I definitely don't want to see any of them going down that wrong path, and it can be touch and go through adolescence. So really we want to give them all the tools and skills that they need to flourish into amazing adults.
Currently, they are focusing their program towards combating and dealing with bullying, an issue that both Webb and Wanzura have noticed is very prevalent and damaging.
So into 2012, that's what we're offering is a Bully-Free Communities initiative.
And their stable has just expanded with the arrival of 2 new horses, which is great because now the girls have more to spend time with.
It was fun. Really fun. No, it was just really fun. It was amazing. I really like it.
For the Abbotsford Good News Story on Shaw TV, I'm Jonathan Horst.
The website is empoweredbyhorses.com to learn more about the programs. Gosh, I love the month of January. Busy time at all the recreation centers like the West Vancouver Community Centre behind me. Also, Chinese Lunar New Year is coming up. It's a big focus in the world of astrology. But what about the world of astronomy? Up next on The Express, we're heading to the H.R. MacMillan Space Centre to learn about the solar cycle of the sun and the effects that it has on Earth.
Welcome to the H.R. MacMillan Space Center. I'm Cam Cronin, and
I'm Raminder Samra.
And today we're going to be talking about the sun. Now, most of you are probably aware that we do have a sun, and in Vancouver, occasionally we do see it. But the news pays more attention to the sun in the next few years, and you'll probably hear a little bit more about the sun in the next few years because of the intense solar flare activity. Now, there's a cycle that this sort of rolls on. What's the year?
It's an 11-year cycle.
It's an 11-year cycle. So every 11 years, we move through this solar cycle, and it's basically increased solar activity on the surface of the sun. And it's going to peak 2013. So we're actually heading towards that peak. So for the next couple of years, we're going to see a lot more increased activity. And I know, remember, that solar activity can influence us here on Earth. What are some of the things that could...
So when the solar activity increases, there's often large ejections of cosmic rays and solar wind. The solar wind can impact a lot of our communication satellites, knock them out, and additionally can affect the power grids here on the Earth as well.
And if you're an astronaut, you really want to know about this activity coming towards you because it can create a lot more radiation coming towards an astronaut. So if an astronaut is out for a spacewalk, we want to make sure they got inside. Even if they're inside the space station, we want to make sure they're in an area where they're more well protected from this radioactive activity. Now, to give you an idea of how much energy is actually released, one of these solar flares can release the same amount of energy as 1 billion hydrogen bombs. So we're talking about a huge energy release out in space. And if you could harness that energy, it would power North America for about 1 million years. hours. So we're talking about a massive amount of energy that's released. Now, it can cause these problems, but it also can cause some really beautiful things to happen here on Earth. Difficult to see in Vancouver, but this is responsible for the
auroras. So the more north you go, what happens is the solar wind gets funneled by our magnetic field. So the high energy particles, they travel along magnetic field lines towards the North Pole or the South Pole, and that's where you can see the increased aurora activity.
So you might know this as the Northern Lights, and again in Vancouver it's difficult to see. As you do move farther north it's easier to see, but I have a fantastic website for you. It's called the Aurora Max Project, and if you surf over to the Canadian Space Agency's website and look for Aurora Max, it's a live webcam that is in the northern region, and it actually films the northern lights. So if there is any activity, you're able to see that, and it replays it the next day. It does play it live. It doesn't play in the summer months between sort of May and August because, of course, it doesn't get dark up in the north. But when it does get dark, and it's rainy and cloudy here in Vancouver, flip on the computer, turn on the Aurora Max, and you're able to see some beautiful color displays up in the northern sky. And to realize that that is actually being caused by our sun and the activity that's on it. For the Express here at the H.R. MacMillan Space Center, I'm Cam Cronin.
Raminder Samra.
And remember, don't actually look directly at the sun. The Aurora Max Project, great way to see that, and other ways, much safer than actually staring at it with your eyeballs. Thanks.
Did you hear? It's the end of an era at the H.R. MacMillan Space Center. Yeah, they're stopping their laser and light shows. The last one happens on January 28th at the planetarium. But the Space Center will keep running their astronomy shows. The current ones are Vanishing Sky and Quest for Origins, and they both happen on Saturday nights. You're watching The Express, and this is what's coming up.
I could not ask for a higher honor than this.
A Kamloops curler's Olympic excitement. Artistic insight at the Jennifer Kostuit Gallery. The Express, we are your local voice.
Community programming on Shaw has been generously sponsored in part by
hairstyling and color services for Shaw TV, provided by the Lounge Hair Studio, loungehairstudio.com.
We will not do as we are told. We will not dump our friends just because someone says they're not cool.
We will not be shy when we have something to say.
We will not let boys have all the sports.
We will not be afraid to take on challenges.
We will not go on diets just to look a certain way.
We will not be ashamed of who we are. We are girls. We will do what's right for us.
Express at the West Vancouver Community Centre. Exciting news this month. Over 1,000 young athletes from 80 countries in 7 sports will be participating in the first ever Winter Youth Olympics. It's happening in Austria, and we have the story of one BC gal who will be proudly waving the Canadian flag.
January 13th, Corinne Brown will be doing this for real in Innsbruck, Austria. This 16-year-old South Cam student and curler extraordinaire has been chosen as Canada's flag bearer for the inaugural Winter Youth Olympic Games.
Yeah, it's a tremendous honor. I could not ask for anything more. Just even going to the games is such an honor, but just being the flag bearer is going to be insane. I could not ask for a higher honor than this because it's the first. So I'm the only one in Canada that has this privilege, so it makes me feel good. So.
We are just so proud of her. We are just so ecstatic that this could happen. I mean, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I can't say enough about how proud we are of her.
Corinne is already a 2-time provincial high school curling champion, to go along with gold medals at the 2010 BC Winter Games and the 2011 Canada Winter Games. But for her mom Valerie, this is much different.
Corinne's curling has taken us places that we've never been before. Halifax, Toronto, never out of the country, but this would be a first for us. But yes, it's very exciting.
Becky Scott, a double Olympic medalist in cross-country skiing herself, is Canada's chef de mission for these games, which are a first for the International Olympic Committee.
I see my role as very much a mentor as well to these young athletes, knowing that this will be their first time for most of them, even traveling over to Europe. So I want the experience to be as positive, as enjoyable, as memorable as possible. And so, my advice is going to be to stay relaxed, not get too nervous about the competition, enjoy yourself, but, prepare well and perform to the best of your ability, and then take the time aside from your competition to really enjoy the whole experience that's offered there.
Members of the SKSS student body were given time away from class to help recognize Corinne and her achievement, making for another proud moment for the school.
Absolutely. I think our school has won a few provincial championships, but when you get the same thing once, okay, that's great. Then twice, people start to go, wow. And to be honest, we're hoping for another couple. So I think the school has really embraced that, and you could see by the reception today, the kids were stone quiet to listen, and huge round of applause afterwards. So it's a really proud moment for the school.
Corinne will throw third stones for Canada, playing with 3 other curlers from across the country to form the mixed team.
It's been really good. We've all been getting along really well, and they're such great athletes. So our personalities blend really well, and we've met up about 6 times over the past couple months. So yeah, it's been really good.
2 other locals, hockey players Ryan Gropp and Joe Hicketts, are also going to Austria, but it'll be Corinne Brown leading everyone into the stadium. I'm Kirk Fraser for Shaw TV.
You never know where curling will take you. Congratulations to Corinne, and congratulations to Innsbruck. It's the first city to host 3 Olympic events. Yeah, they previously hosted the 64 and 76 Winter Olympics. Now how about some events a little closer to home? It's time for the Express Spotlight. The Chinese New Year Flower and Gift Fair is a time-honored tradition at Aberdeen Centre, featuring the BC Chinese Music Association Chinese Orchestra and a Chinese dance spectacular. Shaw will be on location, so be sure to come and visit us. After a successful 30 years, the popular laser shows held at the Planetarium are wrapping up this January. This is your last chance to check it out at the H.R. MacMillan Space Centre. For the mere cost of a meal, this public event invites you to sit amongst the kids for a front row view of the youthful connoisseurs in action. Eat the Street will be the most fun meal you've had since you, yourself, sat at the kids' table. And that's it for today's Express from the West Vancouver Community Centre. You can go to the website westvancouver.ca to find out about all of their recreation, fitness, and health programs that they offer here. Thanks for watching the Express, only on Shaw TV. We're going to leave you with a look at the local art scene.